all melons. That's significant because melons are hidden throughout each level, and it's considered a special challenge to get all the melons in each level. And so that essentially makes this the 100% category for Yoshi's Story.
Yeah, some of them are quite difficult to find.
Yeah. So yeah, playing casually, most people have never successfully found all of the melons in all of the levels. But of course, speedrunning, I know where they all are, and it's all about advanced techniques and technical movement, trying to slow down as little as possible while eating them, of course. And it turns out this is a very challenging and unforgiving run, and there's a lot of cool tricks and technical things you can do in order to keep your speed. And so I hope you enjoy. And I guess we're ready to get started.
So real quick, can we get a roll call?
Yeah. Again, my name is Dan Salvato.
Oh, I'm Missy.
I'm CyberBudX.
All right. My estimate is 2 hours. Yeah. And if you're curious, my record is 1 hour, 50 minutes, and 6 seconds for this category.
Is that the world record?
Yeah, it is. I read this myself, and while a couple of people are currently working on learning it, I'm the only one who does the full run right now. So it's like, I can't exactly boast about that, but it is a pretty solid run though. Yeah. I'm just gonna have my phone handy because.
Yeah, I no longer have a copy of this game, but I did at one point, and I do know that getting all the melons in a single stage is quite the task.
Yeah. All right. So, are you ready to get started here?
Yep.
All right. On my. What?
Okay, good.
All right.
3, 2, 1, go.
All right. So I can start from any of the World 1 levels. I'm just going to start with 1-1 because this is a very straightforward level, though it is very tech skill oriented. And so as I go, I'll explain some of the tech that I do. The first thing I want to explain is a technique called a dustless ground pound. And what that is you're going to see me ground pound a lot to uncover certain hidden melons. And when Yoshi ground pounds and he hits the ground, he wastes about 40 frames like that, which is almost a full second before he can start moving again. However, if you ground pound when you're right next to the ground, right before you land, then his ground pound will actually have no landing lag whatsoever. And so with each ground pound, you could save almost a full second if you get that tech properly. And it's usually just a window of a few frames. And so that alone in a level with a lot of ground pounds can save you a lot of time. You're going to see me like that when I intentionally missed the technique because I needed to flip over the elephant, and you can't do that with a dustless ground pound.
I think you're not going to get any of the hearts you get from getting the 6 melons in a row.
I actually do. Those hearts, which are called super happy fruits, are very useful in some areas because they give me special properties that allow me to do things I normally couldn't do.
I've been trying to reintroduce Poochie into the series as well.
So usually when I throw an egg while running, I'm using a technique called a glide toss, which allows me to throw the egg without losing any of my momentum. Because normally when Yoshi throws an egg, he loses all of his momentum. Alright. That's the end of 1-1. Where did my water go? So you'll probably notice that I'm collecting these giant red hearts. Those are called power hearts. And what those do is they unlock additional levels in the next world. Because in this game, after you beat a level, you go right to the next world. And so, since I got all 3 power hearts in this stage, it unlocks 2-2, 2-3, and 2-4. And so I'm going to go to 2-4 because my power heart collecting I don't want to waste. And part of this route is efficiently getting the power hearts that you need in order to hit the levels that you need to go to. And in the end, you might be wondering what happened to the rest of World 1. In order to complete this run, I need to beat the game 4 times through in order to hit all of the levels. So right here I'm going to use a technique where I gain height during my flutter. All right. That's it's not as hard as it's not as hard as Yoshi's Island, but it's still a very tight window. And it was only recently that I started getting good enough at it to use it in that area. There's another height gaining technique, but it's much slower, although it is more reliable. You can actually stand on those spikes right there. That's pretty funny. You normally don't see games do that, but oops.
Now, earlier when you did the soft reset, that was to skip the cutscene.
Yeah, thanks for
between
bringing that up. I
areas.
forgot about that. Normally when you beat a level, there's like an ending cutscene where the Yoshis like sing a song and it tells you
Very annoying song.
a page of the storybook. But it's actually faster to simply reset the game right after the game saves. And it's actually funny because on Virtual Console, the game lags for a few frames as it's saving. Because instead of instantaneous cartridge saving, it's saving to the Wii's flash memory. And if you hit the reset button during that time, in order to prevent corruption of the save file, it simply buffers the reset until the save is complete. Which is pretty funny because it means that you can actually get frame-perfect resets pretty easily. Alright, right here, these ghosts appear in a random pattern, and I pretty much have to wait until one of them allows me to run up here. And my backup strat is doing this. If I don't get a good ghost, in this case it's really bad luck, then I'll eventually just get up there without them. So here's an example of me getting a Super Happy Fruit. You're going to see me charge and cancel eggs right here, because one of the properties of Super Happy Fruit is that I have infinite eggs. That means when I pull out an egg, Yoshi pulls it out of thin air. And so what I can do is, I can start charging the egg and simply cancel the charge, and it'll be added to Yoshi's inventory. Sorry, I have a bit of a cough. I hope that doesn't get too annoying. Not all too much interesting about this room. There's some box pushing. Box pushing is probably the worst aspect of this game, simply because it's slow and there's no way to speed it up. And this is one of those times. Take this opportunity to drink some water. When you push two boxes together, they make two melons. So, another thing you may notice is that while some levels in this game are just purely left to right, other levels are completely open world and you can go wherever you want. This is an example of one of those levels, and so it's more of a challenge to route because you need to figure out the optimal path to hit every corner of the stage and get every melon.
Normal for those boxes to just disappear from hitting the water like that?
Yeah, that's actually, it wasn't water, it was goo, and like such as right here. And when boxes hit goo, they give you a melon. So this stage has a lot of page turning. This stage is called Torrential Maze, so I guess it is very maze-like.
Yeah, I know when I personally played this game, I think the game is a great game. I just got very annoyed with the sound of the Yoshis themselves.
Oh, really? Come on. Alright, didn't catch those waterfalls. If I catch those, they can give me a boost, of course. Now here, I just have to hope that these ghosts don't get in my way. Alright, got that. There's like something hidden in the wall here that allows me to get up here, and this is where the rest of the melons are. Here's another trick with the Super Happy Fruit. When you ground pound, it breaks all the fruit bubbles on the screen, and it also kills small enemies such as Shy Guys.
I forget, does this also make the explosion from your eggs a little larger as well?
It does, actually. And of course you're invincible, and your tongue is twice as long as well, which I also use pretty frequently. Alright, so on that level I collected one Power Heart, which unlocks 3-2 only. 3-1 is naturally always unlocked, but I'm going to 3-2. And I decide which power hearts to get like that because the other power hearts are simply too out of the way to make it worth it.
So you basically have it all routed out in a way where you can do all, what is it, the 24 levels in like an ideal way?
Yeah, using the most efficient power hearts possible. This is one of my favorite levels, and it'll allow me to explain another technique called tongue jumping, which is when I mash the tongue button, which is B, while jumping, I gain significant boosts in height. It's a very difficult technique to do because you have to mash B while holding A, but especially when going off these springs, you can see like how much of a height boost it'll give me. And so throughout the run, I use that a lot because it's much faster than fluttering. So again, if you see me just charge an egg and cancel it, it's usually to spawn eggs out of thin air while I'm super happy. And now we play a boring minigame. So, a lot of levels have these minigames where you can get up to 7 melons. There are 3 different types of minigames. There's the race minigame, which is what I'm doing now, where I have to race that chain chomp and finish before he eats the melons. Or there's the melon stack minigame, where I have to carry a stack of melons, which we haven't seen yet. Or there's a flutter minigame, where I have to flutter to the goal without touching the ground, which we also haven't seen yet.
And the story is also a bit unusual about this game. If I'm remembering right, it's basically Baby Bowser took the super happy tree from the Yoshis and turned them all into like...
Yeah, Baby Bowser, he stole the super happy tree from the Yoshis, and then he like turned the world into a storybook for some reason, because that's like part of his evil plot somehow.
And all the Yoshis you're playing are technically baby Yoshis, and
Right.
they're all the only ones that were unaffected by it.
Right, right. Oops. That's alright. That was close. Oh man. It's easy to accidentally ground pound in this game. Because it's simply down while you're in the air. It's also worth mentioning if I accidentally eat a fruit that's not a melon, then I'm forced to kill myself and start the level over. Alright, I'm going to gain height on my flutter here. I messed up, of course. That's alright. Safe strats.
Also, luckily, is that the peppers don't add to the count of what fruits you got in the level.
Right. Oops. This guy's completely random, so I just have to hope he's like not in an annoying pattern. And right now, he's being really annoying. There we go. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spin the wheel this way and put him on the bottom so he doesn't get in my way. Because if he knocks me off this wheel while I'm hitting this block, then the block disappears and I cannot get the melon. And again, I'm forced to kill myself and start the level over. Whoops. Oh, my execution is just silly today.
And then at the end of any of the World 3 levels, you have to fight a boss.
Right. This boss, I can control his movement after I hit him, depending on which side of his body I hit him with an egg. And so I always hit him on the correct side of his body in order to keep him within reach of me. And I'm short one egg here, so I'm just going to grab one there. And should be right there. Okay, I missed. I think because... Oh, there he is. Because I scrolled him off screen to get that extra egg, his position changed. Alright, the next level is arguably one of the hardest levels in the game. That would be Piranha Grove, and it's one of the levels that a lot of people who played this game when they were younger, they remember this level simply because it was so hard and scary with giant piranhas and things that eat you, etc. And even for speedrunning, it is very hard. Even right off the bat, the first room is very difficult to pull off properly. We'll see how it goes. I have to make this really difficult jump to hit the platform cycle while avoiding this guy. There we go. And now I need 6 eggs, and I cannot waste any of those eggs. I need all of them, so if I miss a shot, then I'm screwed. So I get hurt here on purpose because, again, I need all my eggs. And then box pushing. Alright, the difficulty doesn't end there. This room is also very tough. Those flying piranhas that kind of stick their tongue out and eat you, it's really, really bad if you get eaten, because that alone wastes around 10 seconds, but you also lose all of your eggs. And they can eat you while you're invincible as well. Have a few eggs here. Okay, I was really afraid of eating that banana by accident. Okay, I got a good platform cycle there, so this is going pretty well. Oops, I want this super happy fruit here. Alright, so far so good.
And the window on those ground pounds for some of the hidden melons is not a very big window.
Yeah, like, you need to know exactly where those melons are. Normally, Yoshi has a sniff mechanic that tells you their exact location, but that's extremely slow to use in a speedrun, and so I just need to know all of them. So you're supposed to like roll this ball down here, but that's slow, so I do that. And now for a melon stack minigame. This one is actually slightly difficult, so we'll see how it goes. Okay. It looks easy, but those guys have really big hitboxes, and I was actually taking a little bit easy there. Most of the melon stack minigames, you can simply do at full speed without slowing down. You saw me slow down a little bit there just because I want to be extra careful. If I fail that minigame, then there's no way of getting those melons back, and again, I have to kill myself and start the level over most of the time. I'm out of eggs. That's alright.
Better run up at the end of the stage at the beginning.
Yep. Alright, next up is our first water level. There are only 2 water levels in this game, which is amazing. But this is the more boring of the 2. And this is also probably my least favorite level, so all my commentary is most likely just going to be complaining about everything. The other water level is very challenging and has some neat and interesting tricks. This one doesn't. Just stupid things that get in your way.
And I think you just want to get them over with as soon as possible.
I can damage boost. And then the music gets really funny. I love that flute.
Now,
It's so like
now
out
you,
of
now you
tune.
can only be killed when your health is at this point, right?
Right.
Or being crushed, I think, also, right?
Yeah. Yeah, if you have any more than 0 petals, then any time you take damage will just knock you down to 0. But Yoshis don't die, they just get really sad.
Yeah.
That's actually like that's the way health works in this game. It's Yoshi's happiness meter. And like when he runs out of happiness, he just gets really sad and he gets carried away. Save for some enemies or areas where Yoshi does in fact get brutally murdered, but we'll see those when they come. Alright, this is my least favorite room. So in this room, there are these fish that are carrying melons, and I have to eat them before they leave the screen. Except there are these watermelons just like floating in the water here. And they're so easy to accidentally eat, especially since Yoshi's tongue physics are so awful underwater. Like, that's what Yoshi's tongue does when without hitting the control stick, I hit B while I'm facing down, and Yoshi's tongue just goes all over the place. And so doing this is actually like really, really dangerous and worrisome. Oh, come on. Okay. I'm scared. Yes. that has gotten me before. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, those were in pretty close proximity to each other.
Yeah. And naturally, if Yoshi's tongue hits 2 fruits, one of them is going to take priority. I'm not sure what determines that priority. Maybe in the order they were drawn or something like that. But yeah, you have to be really
It could
careful
also have something to
sometimes.
do with when his tongue's hitbox hits the melons, because I think if you were to somehow aim your tongue outwards and then angle it back towards the fruit, I think if it was to hit the farthest fruit first when it's coming back to Yoshi, I believe it'll trigger the one that was farther back.
Yeah, I've just seen some really weird stuff happen. So you'll notice in that room that I actually used the sniff mechanic, which is why the camera zoomed in and Yoshi started moving slowly. And that was because there were bees in that room, and the only way to get past the bees is to move slowly enough. And using the sniff mechanic is a cheap way of doing that without having to precisely angle the stick. You just hold R, and that makes Yoshi move slow enough to get past the bees.
Is one of the brutally murder animations getting stung by bees?
No, actually. Yeah, there was just a super happy fruit in the wall. Oh, I forgot to mention, in this game, if you eat 6 of the same fruit in a row, then you get a super happy fruit. But I eat all melons, so that means in every level, I get a total of 4 super happy fruits in certain areas that I can use to my advantage if I want to. Because at increments of 6, 12, 18, and 24, I get a super happy fruit. And so I can really take advantage of those. Oops, I missed that jump. Alright. Here's another melon stack minigame. Bees only know how to hurt you when they're on the left side of you, so I can throw an egg at that bee's nest and they just won't do anything about it. Alright, well that train wreck of a level is over. I don't mean train wreck in, like, I played badly, because I did pretty well in that level. I mean train wreck of level design. Another frame perfect reset.
So how are you keeping track of which levels you've already done? Memorization, pretty much? Or?
Depending on the level I start with, I started with 1-1. That sets me on a path to complete certain levels, if that makes sense.
When you restart to do the other ones, though, how do you remember which ones you've done then? Is that just memorization, or?
Because, wait, where am I supposed to go? Do I go to 6-2 or 6-3? I go to 6-3. Okay. I felt like 6-2, but no, like depending on the level that I start on, that path, that muscle memory path of the power hearts that I get, always takes me to levels that I have not yet played, if that makes sense. Like, I'm always getting the exact number of power hearts I need to go to the level I need to play, which is always a level I have not yet played. And those power hearts are just, you know, part of the route, and so I don't even have to think about it. Right here, I'm going to gain height by throwing eggs while jumping and fluttering. That's called an egg jump. And you're not really supposed to get that key yet. Alright, and now we're going to play the hardest melon stack minigame. The melon stack games in World 6 have the stack drop down very slowly, so I have to wait and try to balance it as they are dropping. Alright, got it. Thanks. So here it's faster to eat the super happy fruit and just run backwards to go back to the beginning, because that pipe puts me in a much more convenient location. And you're going to see me there. Oops. You saw me throw eggs in front of me and lick them back. And again, that adds eggs to my inventory, though that technique is much harder than simply charging it and canceling the charge. I can continue moving forward while doing so I don't lose any time. So this is another open world level, so I timed the super happy fruits very conveniently. As you can see, it really comes in handy in this room, especially since I can do that. Just leave that poor egg behind.
And technically all those watermelons would not necessarily be watermelons. It was dependent on that fruit that it randomly picked. Just
Yeah,
the first level.
yeah. At the very start of the run, I picked a lucky fruit, which is completely insignificant or irrelevant in this run because I never eat anything but melons. But yeah, when Yoshi ground pounds and kills enemies, then they turn into his lucky fruit. There we go. You can see how much of a boost tongue jumps give you. But there are some areas where you have to get a really, really good tongue jump in order to get enough height. And it could be very inconsistent. The one other player who is really working on learning this game, he learns to claw the controller just so tongue jumps are a little bit easier. Because again, you have to mash the B button while holding the A button. I just do it with one finger, but I can understand why two fingers would be easier. Here I flutter to move the camera upward and it makes that guy spawn higher, so I can get up here much more quickly. Come on. So I try to position myself so that this block that I'm standing on, he doesn't turn into a ghost, but yeah, it's pretty tough.